All right, y'all ready? We are ready for the final moment of the hour. Mr. J. Keezna. Everybody stand to their feet. Come on, y'all. Everybody stand to their feet. You done came to Chicago to talk business with us. Amazing how it is a pleasure.
Let's have a seat.
I'm excited.
Chantel, what to do, baby?
I'm just excited because we got Mr. Jay Jenkins tonight. Well, I don't know if we got young Jezzy, we got Jay Jenkins tonight.
We got both of them.
We got both of them.
In the middle.
Yes, but it's such an exciting time to have you here to talk about entrepreneurship. I've really been following you. One, you were the soundtrack to my business. I started my business in 2004 after my brother got killed.
Okay.
And I started doing entertainment, and the album dropped right after that. And you were the soundtrack for me for 2 years. You kept us going because you had that mix of the streets and it was still business. So I just
congratulations on that. Y'all give her a round of applause here.
So we're gonna jump right into it. So today, you got a room full of Black-owned businesses. You know, we had young entrepreneurs here. We talked about everything from building a team today, creating a culture of excellence. So I just want to jump it off. I've been seeing that from the beginning, entrepreneurship was always your path, right? Can you talk about that a little bit? That was always the end goal.
I want to be transparent. I didn't know I was headed towards entrepreneurship. I just knew I got a set of skills from the streets that I acquired, and I understood if I stood on my morals and I kept my vision, that it would turn into something, right? And by that time, I realized that I was running a business, and I didn't know I was running a business. You know what I'm saying? And it was a street business, by the way. You know what I mean? But it was actually a business. And the more I got to learn about it, you know, I was more passionate about learning and earning and making a way of for my family and changing the quality of life of the people around me. So that was my motivation, right? You know, I wasn't thinking just dollars and cents. And when I realized that I was an entrepreneur, you know, you got to think about it. It was one thing to be a traveler, you know what I'm saying? But now this is a whole different conversation with a different set of rules, and I felt like I was ready because I went to the school of hard knocks. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, shout out to all the entrepreneurs in here. You know, I don't care where you start from, it's where you end up.
It's where you end up.
It's where you end up.
I love that. So let's talk about those parallels a little bit because, you know, we're in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's a lot of street things going on here and a lot of transitions, which is one of the reasons why we're honored to have you here today to show. So talk about some of the things that you maybe learned from the street and what was that transition like for you?
I mean, it was the same thing because it was hustle, it was imagination, it was forward thinking, it was all the things you do when you start a business. When you're in the streets, I mean, of course, you got to stay safe and stay out of the way, but it's still a business. It's dollars and cents, it's checks and balances, it's hiring people, firing people, all that. And what I learned I learned in the streets that I didn't see in the corporate world is it was business, it wasn't personal. So my emotions wasn't in the business. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it was like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to get to. And anything in between ain't gonna stop me because I don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? It's from A to Z. And that was my gift. Even when I go in these boardrooms now today, you know what I mean? These boardrooms, a lot of people lose their cool. And one thing I learned about this game, any game you in, if you can control your emotions, you can control the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the key because a lot of people, you know, they move out of scarcity. And one thing you learn when you come from the streets, and I don't mean streets in the sense of like you got to do something wrong. I mean coming from the place where you built your own, and it's your blood, sweat, and tears, and you go into this different than somebody giving you a bunch of money in a trust fund, or, you know, leaving you a bunch of money, you know, just because they passed or whatever. You're gonna go about it differently when you go out here and make every dollar and every cent count for your vision, your dream. You know what I'm saying? It's a totally different ballgame.
Absolutely. So we're gonna jump into brand building. That's something we talked about a lot. So you got a new cognac and a wine.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit? What's your strategy to build those brands?
I mean, believe it or not, I used to watch my mama clean people's houses all week. As soon as she got her check, she went to the liquor store in this town we lived in, and everybody that worked was at the liquor store, cashing a check, giving the people 20% and buying liquor. And I just never understood it, you know. And of course, you know, coming up, I know they drinking, you know, Naughty Head and you know the real stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like looking at the profit margin because I'm like, if they paying $8 for a fifth or whatever they get, you know what I mean? Like that's real money. You know, you got hundreds of people standing outside this liquor store, and I always told myself, I said, yo, if I ever got a chance, I would want to make that one of my businesses because I see the type of people that come and they're literally loyal to being around this type of environment and just engaging in this, right? And I don't know if a lot of people know that music was my talent, but business was my passion.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I never wanted to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be able to go in the boardroom and do my thing, but I know I couldn't walk from the streets into a boardroom, so the music was my stepping stone.
Yes.
So once I got in it and I figured it out, I took an opportunity off of conversations I heard about ownership, and I went and sat down with one of my mentors. Now his name is Ken Austin. He went on to do Terramundo with The Rock and Proper 13 with Conor McGregor after we sold Avion Tequila. And when I sat down with Ken, and this is what I'm gonna tell you, I don't call it fake it till you make it, but I call it standing on business. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation with some guys, and they told me, you know, we was talking about actually like royalties and actual ownership. And when I sat down with him, he offered me some money, and at the time I needed the money. I'm not even gonna front. He offered me some money to, you know, basically be a brand ambassador. And I looked at him, knowing I needed the money, and said, man, you gotta give me some ownership. Mind you, I didn't even know what ownership was. You feel what I'm saying? And he was like, let's talk about it. And I said, when are you planning to sell? He said, in 5 years. I said, I tell you what, I'm gonna have my lawyers reach out to you. And you don't have to pay me a dime. But when we sell in 5 years, I need some real ownership in this brand. And I need a buyout. And that's what I did. And that one deal changed my life. My mother never got a chance to see that. But me just going to that liquor store with her to see how that worked made me know that this was something that I wanted to do. So I'm telling you, when you see things and you're young and you got these ideas in your head, you just never know. You know, just go with it because that deal alone probably got me more than I ever seen in music in my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's learning from your circumstances and the adversity, which I wish I bring up. We got to bring up the book, but I want to stay where you're at because I was listening to you when you were talking about, I think the same thing with Defiance. Your goal is to get it to a certain level. And I want you to just play on that strategy a little bit more because we talked early on about selling a business. We brought up My Yellow Organics, which had a sale for over 100 million for the holiday brand. But a lot of Black-owned businesses are hesitant. Let's talk about it.
She's talking about Defiance Fuel, which is a sports water company that I own. And again, it came from the idea of when the water got cut off in the projects, when I looked at the projects, I like everybody need water, so I might as well get water. So, and the same thing with real estate. You know, I grew up in a 2-bedroom trailer that's not bigger than this stage. And I always told my mom we're gonna own something. And the first money I got, I went and bought some real estate. Right, because and I still do to this day because it's about owning that dirt. I don't care what you own in this world, and dirt ain't going nowhere. So just know that. You know what I'm saying? But like you were saying about building things and selling them, it's all about value. You know what I'm saying? And it's what you see going on in this music industry right now. You see a lot of guys selling their catalog. They probably didn't even know they was building that value. So what I would tell you is, even as entrepreneurs, every day you are a brand. Like it ain't just about the product you sell, you are a brand. You know, the way you carry yourself, the communication you have with people, the relationships you build, you're a brand. When somebody calls your name, they gotta equate you to something else. And that's being a brand. If you're a solid individual and you look the part, that's your brand. You know, if you out here, you hustling everybody, that's your brand. And when you think about brands, you can build global brands, you can build local brands, you can build national brands. And the reality of it is, you want to build something that's bigger than you. And that's the goal. And when you see these people build these brands for these multi-millions of dollars and they're able to sell them, and the craziest thing is when you see them and they sell them, you would think they're about to go on an island somewhere and just live the rest of their life. But they were entrepreneurs, so the first thing they're thinking is, what else can I build so I can sell that? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm on, because it's a game. You know what I'm saying? I want to win. I know, I'm a winner. I'm quite sure y'all winners, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that a little bit louder.
Y'all winners or not? I just want to make sure. That's what they tell everyone walk in here. So you got to work for the winners. So.
We got to work. We actually had a black woman earlier that has over 60 restaurants across the country.
That's amazing.
Dee Robinson, and she has her own bourbon as well. So
right.
We've had some 2 Clark at the stage.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, and a lot of what you're talking about is knowing your value, which I think people have challenges with. Even when you approach that deal, like you said, they was trying to give you a small piece, but you understood your value.
Right.
Did that take some learning lessons along the way? Did that take you hit your head a little bit and losing money on deals?
I mean, again, when you come from the bottom and you spending your own and you earning your own, you know, that's the value. You know what I'm saying? The value is knowing that you risk something to get somewhere. And a lot of times when something is given to you, you don't see the value in it. But if it's blood, sweat, and tears, and it's hours away from your family, your kids, you know, the things that you love, you know, you put in the work in, so you are valuable. And I advise every one of you, when you get up in the morning, look in that mirror, and say, look, you know, we about to go get it today, because you got to be your biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause if you don't believe in you, nobody else will. Like, one thing about it, and I tell people all the time, like, you can complain all day, nobody don't care. And if you don't see your value, nobody else will. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who it is. I don't have friends that was, you know, my road dogs. They told me I used to be in the studio. They thought it was a joke. It was funny until I started selling millions of records. You know, they said they were Florida, the rabbit got it done.
So how is your background in music? How has that helped you feel like pivot more and be more successful in business?
Man, it's hard to say, because I would say it helped me because I'm able to help my people. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, music is therapeutic. I mean, I would have been writing, you know, on my own to myself, you know what I'm saying? But once I saw what my words did for my people, it gave me a purpose, and that's what helped me with my business. You know what they say, if you do what you love, it's like you never go to work a day in your life. And for me, it's like I don't go to work a day in my life because I love this. You know what I'm saying? I love to lead by example. And I think that music has given me a vehicle to show my people, you know, that this is a way. It might not be their way, but this is a way, and the music is the vehicle, because if it wasn't for the music, you wouldn't have a book. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have a New York Times bestseller, because there would be no story. You wouldn't have these brands and these different ventures that I'm into, because there was no vehicle. So the music is the vessel, and I think that's how it helps me, because when I'm able to package it up and tell those stories, it relates to the people, and they can see it, you know, they can understand it. So I think it's a vehicle, yeah.
Music touched your soul. It's so universal.
Yeah.
For those that never pick up a book, but speaking of the book, though,
okay,
you brought it up. I was gonna bring it up.
You read it, because the people in Atlanta giving out in charge like it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't playing up there.
I want to jump into that very first chapter. You ended it with, you gotta believe.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, we talked about that. We opened it up,
right,
talking about faith in business. I don't know if you know, but this is actually a church.
I think the two go hand in hand, though, because my grandmother taught me faith. Like, she did, and in my hardest time, that's all I had. You know,
that's how she stayed on you. I remember reading that.
Yeah. My grandma she was with it, but I mean, she gave me something to stand on, because if I didn't have faith, I don't know where I would be. You know what I'm saying? Because there was so many times the lines were blurred, and I could have went away. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of my friends ended up being drug addicts, and just crazy lives. You know what I'm saying? But the faith kept me strong, even when I didn't have it. Like, when I ain't had a paper and I was trying to figure it out, you know, it was the faith that kept me strong. And then when I got it to keep me from going, left, because they say, you know what they say, you want to see where a man is, give him some money or some power. You're going to show you. You know what I'm saying? So it was my faith that kept me balanced and made me take my leadership seriously and be responsible with it. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I wasn't thugging at some point, but when I understood what was going on, I understood my position in it. And shout out to Minister Farrakhan, because he hit me a few times, like, boy, you better tighten up.
To the minister.
Yeah, but when I understood my power and my strength and my purpose, it was faith that kept me solid.
So what advice would you give? So, in business is hard. We talked about it. We had another gentleman, Larry's Barber College. He's opened up several barber colleges, including the Cook County system.
Okay.
And he talked about, he's been in business 35 years now. He's doing all type of things now, but he said it took him years to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about the water being off of the sacrifices, and a lot of us come from that.
Right.
What suggestions do you give to people to say, how do you keep going? How do you keep pushing, even when it ain't looking good?
I said today on my page, you gotta keep swinging. Because if you stop swinging, you get knocked out.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's just like, that's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is not giving up. It's not, if you ever get a chance, check out the Walt Disney story, He went bankrupt 4 or 5 times. You know what I'm saying? He changed the whole dynamic of his family by believing in his gift and believing in his vision, but he lost so many times just to win. And that's gonna go on to the end of time. But entrepreneurship is not giving up. It's just like, that's why I say faith and entrepreneurship align with each other, because even if you go through your hardest times, you can't lose your faith. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with entrepreneurship. You go through some hard times, you can't lose your vision. If you believe in it, you believe in it. That's just what it is. You might not ever win. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta keep it going, because that's gonna open up the doors for something else. Right? Even in music. I started off as a CEO. That was my thing. I wanted to be like Birdman, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to have all these artists and be on. Then when everybody went to jail, all I had was a studio. And my man looked at, you know what? You might be right. And again, being an entrepreneurship and knowing branding and brand being yourself, I had to brand myself. And I did that. Snowman. Ain't but 2 snowmans, Frosty and Jezzy. That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I understood I had to brand myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm saying, like, when you think of Snowman, that wasn't a brand that you would think that would good, don't do that walking up behind me. You know what I'm saying? I still living yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, but just building a brand, you wouldn't think that brand would grow into what you're holding in your hands right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say seeing is believing. And if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hands. You know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Somebody said earlier, the real vision, when it comes to your life, it's just about other people catching up to you. Like,
explain that to me.
He said, when you see a real vision, like your vision can be so big, you gotta believe in it, you gotta keep pushing forward.
Right.
Other people just might have to catch up to your vision, but you gotta keep pushing, because if God showed it to you, it can happen. But just because it don't look like it's gonna happen right now, you just gotta have people catch up to your vision.
Well, that's the thing about having a vision. You see it, nobody else might not see it. But I think more so than that, the goal is to align your vision with people's goals align with your vision. Because that way everybody wins. You see what I'm saying? Because you're gonna need help. You're not gonna be able to do this by yourself. So you're gonna have a team. And to have a team, you gotta align yourself. Their goals align with your vision. And it's like you guys are on the same page. So you're all working for the same thing and the same outcome. It might be a little different stop for them, but they understand we gotta get here. Right? Because I'm a visionary myself. I can go on the road with my staff and be like, hey, look, boom, 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 I'm gone. But we align. So I don't want to hit a problem, I just want to hit a solution. And once they get it going, I can chime in, but I'm going to work on this other vision I got, because they got marching orders. And I think that's a bigger part because sometimes, you know, you can be a visionary and you can see things, but you need a different type of person who their skill set is execution. Everybody's skill set ain't execution. Some people just see it, you know what I'm saying? And I see it, you know. But I get my hands dirty if I need to, but I'm more so, I see it from a bird's eye view, right? And to be a leader, you know, you have to ask yourself, are you an eagle or a chicken? You know what I'm saying? Because you know what a chicken does? It eats everything in front of it, everything you throw down. An eagle sees it from, you know, from a bird's eye view. So I would consider myself, you know, eagle. Yeah.
And that's interesting because I was going to talk about having your own brand, of course, and then for artists, you have to have the right partners.
Yeah.
So we talked about that today. That's something that we really encourage in our businesses, especially.
Right.
We in Ireland, we work with ourselves.
Yeah.
You got to find other people that, like you said, complement or share a vision, but actually have complement what it is that you do. You might be a visionary and somebody else execute.
Well, two things. I say this. I mean, it's good to find partners and people to partner with, but partners like a relationship. You know, I'm big on integrity, so you just don't want to get into business with nobody that you wouldn't be in a real relationship with, whether it's intimate or personal, because you got to deal with them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with them. You got to be able to trust them. And I say another thing is like, it's also about ownership. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to own yours, right? And when people come to you and they try to build with you, that gives you more real leverage. Because just to partner with somebody, you know, the complication the complication I see with that is it's hard to partner with somebody on your dream from the beginning.
Yes.
Because once it manifests and everything happens, it's usually a
split.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's one dream, but it's two people. You know, it broke my heart to see Dame Dash and Jezzy not be together no more. But you got to know somewhere, somehow, you know, they just didn't align no more. And just know that when you're doing these partnerships with people, you know, you got to understand it's like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to trust these people with your life because this your kids, this your legacy, this your trust, this your generational wealth. And the one thing that I can say, just coming from the streets into this, when money comes into play, everything changes. So if your paperwork ain't right, your business ain't right, everything changes. And that's the biggest advice that I can give, because every situation I ever got into that was complicated is when the money came.
Yes.
And it has to be right, you know what I'm saying? And not to say nobody's right or wrong, you know, people change when money comes. Everybody get used to it. Now, mind you, you asked me what I learned in the streets. To now, the fact of the matter is I've been having money. So it wasn't a factor to me. I was more caught up in the success of having legitimate success and being able to put my mama house in her name.
I heard about them lost checks. How big was the check for 2 years?
Well, it wasn't 2 years, it was maybe like about 13 years.
How big was the check?
It was big. It was pretty big.
Well, everybody don't know. Can you tell that story real quick?
Yeah. So I signed my first publishing deal in like maybe I got to my first album, and this guy John Plant he's one of the biggest publishing guys in the business. I was just with him at the Client Davis party. They was honoring him, whatever. He told the story as well. So anyway, John put this publishing deal together for me. I called my lawyer. We're gonna do it, whatever. And I'm on the road. I was actually in Chicago. I was flying out of Chicago on a jet, and he met me at the Clearport, and he broke me the check. Now, mind you, I'm still having with 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the street, so I don't even have a bank account. You know what I'm saying? I'm signed a Def Jam, and I didn't even cash the Def Jam check. So he gave me the check, and I put it in my pocket, and that's the last time I saw the check. But I was so embarrassed to call him back and be like, you know what I'm saying? Like I lost the check, that I never said nothing. And they called me like a year, like maybe 12 months later, like, yo, man, the check, did you ever cash it? And I was like, well, we got to talk about that. And so he sat me down, he talked to me, and he was basically like, you know, like, you got to tighten up on your business. And that's that's what I say about when you're young and you're just coming into money. You know, I thought business was having money. Like I had cash money, I was good. Like that's business to me. I'm not knowing that I need an account, I need all these different things. So I'm just handling it like I'm in the streets. And then I got a call from Jezzy and he like, yo, he got tightened up, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, you know, to be honest, I'm 100%, you know, it's funny, I lost a check, whatever, but I was really embarrassed.
Yeah.
Which made me really dig into how to learn about business. Because the thing about it that scares most people that come from the streets is as it levels up, it gets more complicated. You know what I'm saying? And more people get involved, and now you got accountants, you got lawyers, and you got CPAs, you got all these different people, and it's just like, man, I know how to count my own money. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you don't really trust because it's bigger than you ever thought. And my advice is ask questions. When you're in a meeting, just don't sign papers. Like ask questions. What is this about? Why do we need this? What's that? Matter of fact, let me go back to those numbers and check that out for you. Take it home and you look at it and you go through it. Because people make mistakes. We're all humans. And you don't want people making mistakes with your business and your money. Because it happens.
Sometimes they don't want you to ask the questions.
Oh no, I'm asking questions.
They don't want you to ask.
I go in there, pull out my phone, I have about 10, 15 questions. So, on June 1st, you said you deposited.
Yeah. So I know we got to get ready to close out,
but
I know. Are you ready? You warming up? Y'all got a couple of questions for Jezzy?
Let's do it.
We got questions, maybe time for 2 questions. I want to ask that big question. I'm always, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur for 19 years, been doing business. Thank you. And I'm honestly, again, we honored and blessed for you to be here because what we're doing is really trying to educate. We've been doing an awards day where we bring out over 1,000 Black businesses for years, but we added the conference because we knew that's really what's going to move our businesses forward. Like you said, we can't be afraid to ask questions, even in this room.
That's right.
If you don't understand something, we can't be afraid to talk about the things that we made mistakes on.
Right.
I mentioned earlier, I made 100,000, not nearly what you was making at 24. Early on, 21 to 23. And I stayed there for so long because I got complacent. So I'm sharing that because it took us a while to hit 7 figures. So I don't want the next person in this room to take 10 years to hit 7 figures. I'm gonna share what I know. So we have to have moments like this. Y'all enjoying this? I mean, moments where you sharing your deal structures and learning and how you build a brand. And we got a couple more questions. I want to ask you about you've been a relevant brand for going on 18, 19, long as the journey I've been in entrepreneurship. How do you stay such a relevant brand?
I mean, to be honest, just staying curious, staying fresh, and really like taking care of yourself, like, and I mean that like wholeheartedly, meaning like just making sure that you stay evolving. You stay open. Like you're open to get around new people to see what they got going on and understand how they business work. And the thing that I learned is mentorship is real. Like even if you don't know somebody, they can be your mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta watch how they move and just study them. And I've studied a lot of people. I mean, God bless me, so I was able to meet them and build real relationships with them. But it just was understanding, and it's just like books have so much knowledge in them.
Yes.
And I think if you take the time to find something you're really interested in, and if you take a full year and just read all the books you can on that subject, you would be an expert in that subject. You know what I'm saying? If you sat down, you are an expert in that. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how you evolve. You just stay learning, you just stay fresh, and you stay you, and you stay unapologetic, and you make your own, so you can do it your own way. And the thing that I take pride in, I did it my own way. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can't take that away from me. Like I did it how I do it. And I tell people all the time, it's all fun and games until they find out the guys in the suits work for the guy in the t-shirt.
Yes.
You feel me? Yeah, that part.
That part. That's a powerful image. You got one question this week?
Okay.
I want to ask you, since this entire weekend is about legacy. Congratulations on fatherhood, by the way.
Thank you.
What is your legacy? What's your legacy?
My legacy, I would align it with my purpose, and it's to lead by example and to let young black men know that they can come from anywhere and be anything. You know what I'm saying? And I mean that wholeheartedly because I'm not just one thing. You know, I'm not gonna leave this earth and my kids gonna just know me for being a great artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the things that I ever dreamed of, right? And I still got a long. So when it's all said and done, you know, these kids that are coming out of these neighborhoods, I want them to understand that if I watch Jezzy walk on the same pavement as me and go through these same trials and look how far he got, I know I can get even farther. That's where I'm at with it.
That's it. That's powerful. That was actually my final question. I think we got to get ready to close out. Was what you want your legacy to be? You got any final words for us?
No, I love y'all, Chi-Town. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me.
Let's give him a standing ovation. We got to give him a standing ovation. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for coming to Chicago and talking business. We got the book signing going on right after this. Everybody go grab their book if you already don't have it. He's going to bless us with his presence for a few more minutes and get the book signing. We'll be closing out. Thank you all hope you all enjoyed the Power Conference. It's been a long, full day full of information, and we thank you all. We got a special announcement too. We're doing brunch this Sunday. We kicked off Jezzy.